So, hello, Patrick, Gilbert, and distinguished board members. We are Excel Plus Consulting Group. I'm Tiffany. This is Kajarina, Lily, and Eric. Thank you so much for your time today. We understand that you guys are facing a very important decision in the company now. So we have done some detailed analysis, as you can see from our agenda today, which is quite jam-packed. Hopefully we can keep you guys awake during this time. So right now, the world is facing a completely new situation. FECC, your company, has been so successful in its growth strategy and governance strategy, but with a local pandemic on the rise, unfortunately, uncertainties lay ahead for everyone, pretty much. So right now we are at a crossroads. DRT is such a great company. We've worked with them for so long. They would do very well as a vertical integration into your company. But with the uncertainty of COVID, the answer is when and how should we do this acquisition? So our goal today with our proposal is short term, we want to keep your company stable during these uncertain times. And long term, we want to plan ahead for growth and sustainability without compromising your values. So let's see how we can juggle the short and long term to set sail together. So today, this is a roadmap of what we will be going through. We have identified key issues in 3 different areas. In terms of family issues, with the integration of DRT, how well will their family values integrate into your family? In terms of family business, because your governance is already so successful, so how well will DRT's family governance and their structure integrate into your current governance structure? And in terms of business, because of COVID and the global pandemic happening all around the world, how will this current world situation affect both our businesses? So we've done some analysis in this area. We see that your company's emotional bonding is very strong right now. Leadership is also flexibly enmeshed. So with the addition of DRT, how will their family values and mindset integrate into FECC? In terms of 3-circle analysis, Gilbert, you're running the company right now. Patrick and the rest of the board members and the family members are still very active. So how well will DRT's family integrate into this existing governance currently? And lastly, in terms of business issue, FECC's continued success relies on being continuously innovative. So we're adapting to different progressive innovations right now, and we're constantly looking for new strategies in this area. However, with COVID, we see a lot of issues, impacts that can be negative. For example, there are lockdowns and international travel bans that are happening due to COVID. In terms of environment, we don't know how long COVID will last and also its short-term and long-term impacts. For society, we're going to see a lot of healthcare crises that are putting a strain on society's current resources. And in terms of technology, it could be positive. We could see a digitalization era, but how does that affect our company? That's also a little uncertain right now. So the biggest question in terms of business issues is how much will the current world situation affect both your company and also DRT in the future?
So after all this analysis, we actually come out with a few options for your M&A decisions, which is, here is the issues, and then after the business options, so we have this either buy now, or buy later, or buy partially in phases, or we just give up the M&A. So we have this analysis, which is the impacts of the options in terms of short terms and long terms from three axes, which is the family axis, the family business perspective, and the business perspective itself. So here is, and after all this analysis, we actually have this conclusions, which is we found that buy partially and in phases is actually the best options for this moment, as just now mentioned, that we don't really know when COVID will end. So here is the solution summary that we coming out because of all these options. They might still have some issues there, and then so we have all the solutions, which is either for family in family perspective, we will want to have this inter-family retreats, and also the ESG reviews includes the combinations of both companies, and also we will have this adjustment of board of directors and establish a new committees inclusive of top management for both companies. And then in terms of business, we will have this phases purchase and also adjusted deal structures to DRT. And here, with all the solutions, we want to have this impact that to ensure the long-term growth in terms of business and also maintain the financial stability of the company itself. Of course, we want to ensure the continuous partnership with DRT, so with the integrations of both families' values. And lastly, we still want to protect your benefits.
Patrick. Hi, Patrick. We know that you, especially even seems like a business MMA case, right? But we do know that you all truly care about your family members because you have more than 40 families right now. So we prepare a comprehensive communication plan to you and ensure that the family harmony among your families. So the first thing, the communication plan, we put 3 W. First is why we need to do the acquisition now, and also when we do the acquisition. And last is how we do the acquisition. The first thing is why. Before, during our analysis and also our options, maybe you will see that there's some higher risk or epidemic. Seems like the revenue will be impacted, the shareholder will be impacted, but we also see the potential inside. The first thing is we want to foresee the global supply chain actually is disrupting during the COVID, right? And now we also want to conduct our vertical integration right now. And also we see that DRT current deal price might be attractive. So we think that we will have this kind of reason to convince our families. When? Because now we already at the initial due diligence phase. So, and we suggest to continue in the business contract, discussing more about how and when and what's the conditions in our contract. So for how, the step 1, of course, is that we share the plan during our family shareholder meeting. And step 2, we need to get alignment between members. We know you truly respect members' views. Step 3 is we conduct a plan. This is for our original families. And next is the communication plan to new family. Of course, DRT is going to join us, so our new communication plan should include DRT families. So the first thing, we know that you have the yearly family retreat with your original families. So we will think that we also want to bond DRT together between Feminist and also DRT. Next is we know you really put the ESG value into your companies. So we think that we will do the yearly ESG review include DRT to ensure that we are all on the same page. Next is the solution for family business issue. Yeah, the first thing is that we know that original board structure is that we have 4 family members and also 5 managers. And then now we suggest that we do some adjustment to include that 1 DRT member into our board committee. The next is for management team. So we also want to establish a new committee, include DRT's executive manager. The solution for business plan, that we all know that everyone is curious about how to process our MMA strategy. So the first phase, due to the travel ban among the countries, so we think that it's really hard to do the face-to-face communications. So we all see that actually DRT, they have factories in China, in India, in US, and also in Europe. So, but we suggest that because we are more familiar with the area in Europe, so we suggest to buy the 4 production facilities in France first. And then we will sign the exclusive sourcing contracts with rest of the production facilities, and especially DRT's R&D team. I would just want to specialize these things because in our PEST analysis, we also noticed that actually during the epidemic that the technology is growing so fast. So we want to ensure that if they have some new technology, we will have the priority to share with us. Second phase is post-COVID. Later we will explain more in our implementation plan that how we do the review. So for the second phase is that we will do the performance review, strategy review to see that if it's good to process our and to ongoing that to buy more and negotiate with DRT, or should we stop, or how's our strategy later? And so for the deal structure, that we think that we will pay the 30%, because we still want to benefit both parts, not only ourselves but also DRT. So we suggest that we pay 30% payment first at the current price, and with increase to 70% payment of 1.5 equal value post-COVID, which is also can ensure our current financial cash flow, and also we will make DRT to consider us our MMA conditions more. So, and then now, so we want, this is our solutions for business issue. Next is our implementation plan, and Eric will do more introduction to you.
All right, so I really understand that, Patrick. Board of directors, you have invested a lot of time, blood, and tear into this company, and we understand how important it is for you. So we have considered a very careful plan. We actually been through a lot of debate in the past hour to ensure that our plan is the most optimal, and there's no and we reduce the risk as lowest as possible. So here is our implementation plan. We will divide into 3 phases. The first one is about the first phase from 3 to 6 months, the very beginning. And the second is 6 months to 3 years, and the last phase 3 years plus. So the first step we will take is to share the plan with the family during the family shareholder meeting, and this will happen soon because we need to get everyone on board. We need to set sail so that we can go to the same direction together in the very first phase. As a next step is to negotiate with DRT. We believe that this will take around 1 year because for sure they cannot agree right away with this condition. They expect us to buy them all and they get all the money. And we still need to consider that whether they want to join the board of director or not, or they want to have a better deal. So that's why we let the negotiation time to be around 1 year to ensure the safety of it. And the last step is to make adjustment to board committee and management team. This will be done after the negotiation, and the time will be around 1.5 year to 3 years later on. And the next step is to include DRT into family shareholder meeting and implement yearly ESG review with the DRT company as well. So this will be done in the second and the third phase. And lastly, we cannot forget to conduct regular review on the business performance. This is very important in order to maintain the business success and consider whether we should move to the second phase of buying the rest of the DRT company. So we have also think of some risks and the mitigation plan as well, because we believe that there's no perfect plan. There's always some issues, some risks that can happen. So that's why we try to foresee some risks here and ensure that we have a proper mitigation plan for you guys. So the first potential risk that we have identified is a disagreement between some family members toward the M&A, for sure, because they have 40 stakeholders, right? So it's so hard to get everyone on the same page at the moment, right now. So it takes time for them to think, to consider their interests, their benefits. And for sure, the impact will be medium and the likelihood is medium. However, we have considered how to solve it and how to face it since the beginning when we received the case. We think that the first phase of the deal which we only buy the French factories, the 4 French factory. This will not affect the shareholder benefit directly because the family has been to 12 merger and acquisition case before. Like this, your company actually acquired 12 companies before, right? So that's why it's understandable for this family member to welcome the 13th member. And this 13th member is not too big. Like the beginning, it was so huge, but we reduce the size to make it acceptable for every family member so that we can have some additional time to iron out the conflict. Hence, the risk has become low to this case. And the second risk, we have identified the DRT company. They may disagree with a partial buy offer for sure. They need to consider the best benefit for themselves first, right? So the impact is very high. It will affect us strongly, and the likelihood also high as well. However, with our excellent consulting members, they with me have debated a lot to come up with a proposal that include long-term benefit for DRT and also stability for them during the COVID time. Because COVID is bring pros and cons. Like it makes the business face a lot of difficulties, but at the same time, for some company like you guys, you stand a bigger side of negotiating with them because you can help them to manage the stability during this difficult time. Hence, the risk has become low in this case. And the last risk we foresee is the board of directors, the current 9 members, they disagree to add in extra seat for DRT because for sure they foresee that, oh, my seat is going to be smaller in this case. So the impact is medium, the likelihood is medium. However, we will propose a fallback to increase the number of board seats for other family members who want to join this board as well. Hence, the risk has become low in this case. So, in conclusion, we believe that with our proposal, we have helped your family to establish an inter-family bonding and ensure that Feminist and DRT value can integrate successfully to protect the for good national value that you guys have been keeping for the past 125 years. And the second conclusion, we have to minimize the loss of financial independence for shareholder to partial acquisition in the phases. Because the big acquisition is too much, it can impose a very high risk for the company. So we have reduced it, but still ensure the M&A can happen. And lastly, we have to decrease the business risk during time of uncertainty because of COVID, while protect Feminist long-term business expansion plan. So with our proposal, we believe that we can help your family to sustain, to grow, and to reach a successful M&A deal. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Judges will now have time to ask questions of the presenting team. I invite the lead judge to begin the question and answer period.
Thank you. I love to play the role of Patrick. Thank you. Get ready. You know, I know the CEO of DRT. He's not going to want to divide up his company. It's all or nothing. And boy, we've been working with them for so many years on this deal, and we finally have signed a contract. We have an agreement. I understand your analysis, and I understand you wanting to manage risks. What would it take? What kind of a deal would you structure? What demands should I make so that we can get this deal done and buy the whole company right now?
Wait a minute.
That's fine.
Actually, we put all the information here, and then that we buying during COVID. Actually, partially and buy during COVID. It's the last 2 decisions that we debate. But we all see that when epidemic happened, that it's like, oh my God, what's going on? Even though maybe tomorrow I'm going to die. That's the same. I just feel that during COVID. So we think that between these two, we try to find, because we know that actually the supply chain just didn't work at this time. The globalization seems ended. during COVID. So we found out that, okay, if we buy the whole wall factory and then it's divided in different areas, so it might be a hard time. That we already have a hard time to communicate with our employees, our managers, and then we are now going to buy a big company to integrate together. So that might cause more risk, we think, but maybe already an issue. So that's why we think out maybe we should, because we know that your company want to do the vertical integrate. So we think maybe we can also do it like a try run in the France because it's nearby our country, right? So that's thing, maybe we buy partially, but we also say that we know it might be not like seems like not a good deal. So we will sign a contract and we will, because we already a joint venture before, so I think we build a trust among these 30 years. So we can see that we can buy and then we can provide a deal, but we still need to negotiate. So that's how we make the implementation plan. Yeah, so.
It'll be challenged because headquarters for DRT is in France. And if we take over France, we're cutting the head off of the company.
Yes, it could be.
Yeah.
But we will try.
So actually, we also taken a look at that. So we have drawn a mini map here, as you can see, because we see that India and China are too far away from Switzerland. So it's not very ideal during COVID time because of travel is banned. So that we just see that France or USA are a very ideal place to buy. However, because we don't have the information that the headquarters is in France. Okay. So that's why we see that this is the best optimal option. However, we can still confident to switch to USA just in case the company find that this is a more optimal option.
Okay, so thank you. I didn't understand. Can you give me a little more context about why you're suggesting that someone from the DRT side should end up on the board? As I understand it, from reading the case in the transaction, right? This is an outright purchase. This is not a merger. This is an outright purchase of DRT by the buyer. So why would it make sense for the buyer to offer a board seat to a DRT representative? I think this is part of the negotiation because, as Patrick said, the original deal was to M&A completely. But right now, because of COVID, we're doing it in phases. So we're saying we don't want them to lose trust in us by kind of going back on the deal. So what we want to do is include them in the actual, not family, but family company in that way. So that was our original strategy, to make it so that we're not going back on our deal completely, but we're offering them in exchange, some say in the company board instead of doing the M&A completely.
Oh, so sort of as a sweetener to agree to a partial sale?
Yeah,
I
to a
see.
partial sale. So it's like our negotiation strategy, since we're not going ahead with the original deal completely anymore, or at this point in time, I should say, because of COVID.
Thank you.
Thank you. Could you go to your 6th slide?
Of
This one right here.
course. 1, 2, 3.
setting sail one?
This one right here.
This one. Oh, okay.
That one. Oh, back. Yep. So my question is, I was waiting to see, you really talked about the deal and restructuring the deal and timing and things like that, which is really dealing with moving into the longer term. I'm not sure I saw much on the short term. We're in crisis. Markets are shifting. Consumer tastes are shifting and buying habits. What did you discuss, or did you discuss much on the operational side of the short term during crisis?
So we will establish immediately, actually, a committee. So this has something more to do with the governance of the company. So let me switch to,
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there.
yeah, this one?
Governance isn't a problem.
Okay. Mhm.
This is the marketplace, the industry. That's my question.
Oh,
Not,
okay,
not
on the
governance.
business
Not
side,
governance. yeah.
okay.
Okay, so I think that when we discuss, it's more, we know the demand is declined dramatically, but actually it's like people just afraid, where we see that the everything getting to normal, people used to the mass lifestyle, and the demand goes up. But the question is, does our supply chain sustain? So that's why we choose to acquisition French first, because we want to do the vertical integration and doing like a try run, like to see vertical integrate, is it okay? And then should we do some improvement? Afterwards, we make a whole acquisition. So that's,
Okay, that's fine.
yeah,
okay.
that's right. That's right.
So my question is about the solution for the family issue, the slide after impacts. Yeah, this one. So, so you have 40 family owners. They are represented in the board with 4 family members. That's where the decisions are being made, and you propose a communication plan for this family, for the original family I'm talking about now. So, what other conversations could be held in this communication plan? Because I think in times of COVID and change, you could do, you know, what conversations do you think will take place in that within the family owners group?
Within the family, or
Owners
just to
group.
clarify, between
The-
Fermanagh
No,
and
the
DRT?
original family.
The original family.
Okay. Actually, we know we do the overview of your company, so we know your families really care about ESG, which also is this company can be sustained. So during that time, I think every family member is aim to find a way to survive. So we don't know that actually COVID was something will happen. Everyone don't know. So we try to make a strategy, and we know that every family member that they don't have that much conflict as long as it can let the company sustain. So that's why we set out the first step is to clarify why we need to do this.
So it's
Why we-
information.
Yeah, information. But it's just a step, and we will provide a comprehensive information for them and let them understand our situation.
So only on DRT, or are there any other topics?
I believe everything that we will discuss clearly with family members, right, Patrick? Yes, right. So I think it's just because today we are going to do the MMA with DRT, so we put it much higher. Yeah.
I have a question for Lily.
Oh
You're-
my God.
Lily,
Lily is me.
You're our financial expert, correct?
Lily here.
Oh, you're Lily.
Lily here.
Sorry. I thought, anyway, how do you finance? You didn't talk about financing the partial acquisition.
Sure. Yeah. Take it. This part?
Yeah, where's the money come from?
Oh.
That's the deal. Where's the
Yeah.
money come from?
The deal, actually, in your background, you mentioned that we have the capital fund within the company internal. So we see that even more than 30% that you already have. So we want to secure some cash flow. So we suggest 30%. Yes, so.
And we don't have any more time. Darn it. I love playing Patrick.